Salamat Malam from Bali. Today's edition of Behind Bali Abundance, I'm going to pick up where I left off, which was I sent my first 5 cubic meters of stock back to Australia. I was selling on eBay, so during the day I worked 5 days a week for a lawyer, and then at night I would after doing my normal duties of being a mum and preparing meals and washing and all that sort of stuff, I would try and photograph stock, get it listed online, answer all the eBay questions, and also attend to packaging parcels to send them on my way to work the next day. This was quite a busy time for me, working full time, because as the business grew, I was finding it really difficult to keep up, but I was so determined that eventually this is what I wanted to do full time. And I knew it was just a short period of time, well, hopefully a short period of time, that I would need to do all these long hours. So literally my family would go to sleep, and unfortunately our computer was in the bedroom. We had a desk in the bedroom for whatever reason. So I would say to Steve, oh look, I've just got to do a couple of things and then I'll come to bed. But luckily he was a pretty heavy sleeper, so he'd go to bed and within minutes would be snoring. And with everyone asleep, I often wouldn't intend to stay up so late, but it was a peaceful time and I just got a lot done. So I'd just keep working away, and before I knew it, often it was 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd have to get up early the next day to start my job in the city. So I did this a lot, and so I wasn't getting much sleep, but slowly my business was growing. The lady next door who had just had a baby one day said, "Who's up in your house all hours of the night?" Because she was up feeding and had noticed the lights on. But unfortunately she said this in front of my husband, so I had to fess up that it was me. But it wasn't long before I made enough money to head back to Bali again. And this time I was thinking, I'd been told that if you had over 13 cubic meters, it was actually worth getting a container. So all of a sudden I was at that point of bringing in my first container. Still working from home, I was bringing in a 20-foot container to my home. So I headed off. Well, I wasn't actually sure how many cubic I would get with the money that I had. So I headed off and I did have over 13 cubic meters. So this time I brought home a 20-foot container, and that truck rolled into our street and I put it into our home. And in that container I'd purchased, which was quite an expensive purchase for me, was a beautiful set of Bali doors, because I'd always loved the Bali doors. And we had a carport out the back, so then that became my little Bali warehouse. We put the doors up, and the majority of my stock was stored in the shed, all the furniture anyway, and the garden things were in the backyard, and other smaller items were inside the house. So it was now growing quite a lot, and I was really enjoying it. And slowly I left my job just one day. So I then started to work 4 days a week, and I started to pay myself a wage for the one day, because I still had to contribute to all of our household bills. So my dream was just to keep doing that and eventually to do it full time. So stay tuned to what happened next.